So, it's another day and another news video. And honestly, the best way to start off of it is there have been conversations for months at this point of how will WWE get the Universal title or the undisputed title off of the Tribal Chief. Who will be the first person at this point to defeat Roman Reigns in the better part of 2 years? I know there have been heavy rumors of them wanting to do the bit with The Rock at WrestleMania. I understand the money draw. I understand how insanely successful and how insanely, money crazy that match would be. But The Rock should never win another WWE title. It is unquestionable that The Rock should never win a WWE title again, and The Rock should not be the one that defeats Roman Reigns for the undisputed Universal title. If anything, you got people from the Bloodline that could jump into front of it. Cody, Seth Rollins still has his open invitation to regain a challenge after how the Royal Rumble went last year. Depending on how his feud with Brock Lesnar goes, Bobby Lashley could jump in. But I think that the best thing that WWE needs to do, or the first thing that WWE needs to do, is figure out do they want to break up the bloodline if Roman loses the title, or do they keep the bloodline together and still allow Roman to lose the title? I think that that's the main thing that they need to figure out. I think that they need to sit down and, I would say, come up with 6 months to a year of television after Roman, including Roman losing the title, and what happens after the fact, because I do firmly believe that if they go the direction of Sami Zayn partnering up with Kevin Owens and going against the Usos, that they can hold on, that can go for at least 6 months, maybe a year, because then you have the interaction with Solo Sikoa, you have the inevitable singles match with Jey Uso and Sami. You have a lot that you can hit and a lot to go through with that feud that needs to be addressed and will not be addressed just in a tag team match. So that's what they need to figure out. But I know, I don't know if Triple H, I don't know Triple H's opinion on long-term storytelling. I know that he had that guy from Marvel come in who was working with Bray Wyatt on the White Rabbit story before Bray's return. That I know he had that person working with Bray on that. Like he has somebody there whose specific job it is to do just long-term storytelling. I understand that, and I think if he does have somebody whose job is there, I think that person needs to sit down with Paul Heyman, because Paul knows the bloodline better than anyone else in the company, working with the bloodline since the very beginning. And I think if anybody needs to figure it out, it's Paul, it's Roman, and it's the guy whose name is escaping me, who worked for Marvel, and whose job it is for to be in charge of long-term storytelling, to figure out what the direction is for the company and the bloodline. But in my opinion, you need to go a month, at least, at minimum, 6 months out, to figure out what you want to do with the Bloodline, and if the Bloodline is breaking up alongside Roman dropping the belt. If you don't want to, then I'd say Cody is the only legitimate Cody or Bobby Lashley or Seth Rollins or even Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens getting back involved with the Bloodline could be the perfect way to start driving a wedge between the Bloodline because it has been that long. I think it's been almost 2 years since Kevin had his beef with Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble. But that's not the only thing we need to be talking about, as Joe Hendry took his rightful spot as the digital media champion in Impact. Which, if you have not seen that video where they talk about, I think it was his repackage, where his repackaging. But what I can say is, I am one of the many that now believe in Joe Hendry. And I wish that if you did say his name, that he did appear. Because that gimmick, he played, that super entertaining. It's super fun. It's the best thing I've seen from Impact on a non-main event level in quite a while, to be honest with you. To be honest with you, it's very fitting. Speaking of Impact Wrestling, they got a pay-per-view next week, Impact Overdrive. They got um, they got the Impact Tag Team titles on the line with Heath and Rhino going against um, the major players, which is Matt Cardona and Brian Myers. You also have Josh Alexander defending his Impact Wrestling World Championship against Frankie Kazarian, which I believe Frankie Kazarian has not received an Impact world title shot since his run back in like 2007, 2008, when he was having that great series of matches with Christian in Christian's original title reign, in Christian's original run in Impact. And Josh Alexander has had a tremendous run as world champion and really capitalized on his momentum as like the flag bearer for Impact Wrestling. It was definitely, I mean, it didn't make much sense, to be honest, as option C, having Frankie win the title only to cash it in within a few days. Seeing Mickey against Taylor Wilde in the career-threatening match, Mickey's run of possible retirement, it really speaks to her viability as a leader in the Impact division. In the Impact Wrestling division, and Bully Ray going on his run, coming back. It really, speaks to him as well. I honestly did not know that Roman Reigns did the cravat. Taya Valkyrie, Jessica, and Rosemary, or Rosemary, challenging for the Impact, or defending the Impact Knockouts Tag Team titles against Savannah Evans and Natasha Steeles. Black Taurus against Trey Miguel for the Impact Wrestling X Division title, the vacated title that was vacated by Frankie Kazarian when he cashed in option C. And then you also have, of course, what I talked about in the video last night, hard times. But I just want to make the note that Taylor Wilde actually returned to Impact Wrestling at Bound for Glory in the Call Your Shot Gauntlet. Another note from Impact Wrestling is that Chelsea Green, in a backstage segment with her tag team partner Deanna Purrazzo, made the mention that she's going home. What that actually means, we don't know. But what we do know is that there have been heavy rumors, and I spoke to this yesterday, in the video yesterday, about the fact that Deanna Purrazzo could be returning to WWE. I mean, not Deanna Purrazzo, sorry. That Chelsea Green could be returning to WWE. And if Chelsea Green does, in fact, return to WWE, then that would be another boost for the WWE Women's Division. A much-needed boost for the WWE Women's Division, to be honest with you. Because before Triple H took over back in July, the division was struggling. To be honest with you, the division was struggling. The division was in a piss poor state, to be honest, and was in desperate need of assistance from the standpoint of being very stale, being very, just very not together. This actually takes place on Impact Overdrive. Actually takes place on November the 18th. So we do have another pay-per-view coming up before November the 18th, and that is on November the 12th. This weekend, tomorrow actually, it is NWA Hard Times with the NWA World's title on the line. Sweet Charlotte on the line as Trevor Murdoch defends in a triple threat match against Matt Cardona and Tyrus. Matt Cardona, the man who never lost the the NWA World's title, and Tyrus, who traded in his NWA World Television title for the opportunity to fight for the NWA World Championship. So the 10 pounds of gold is on the line in a triple threat match, as is the NWA World Women's Championship with Camilla against Kylie Lynn King and Chelsea Green, actually. So Chelsea Green and Matt Cardona are in prominent positions both in Impact Wrestling and in the NWA as both members of the couple. I can't remember if they're dating or they're married, but I think they're dating. But both members of that couple are within inches of championship gold. But I do believe this weekend and next weekend with Impact Wrestling and NWA featuring both Chelsea and Matt Cardona in prominent positions will be eminent of, let me rephrase that. Chelsea Green's position on the card at Hard Times, whether she wins or she loses, will be a strong point too if she does end up back in the WWE. But that is this weekend. Next weekend, we got Impact Wrestling Overdrive, and we still have WWE Survivor Series this month. We still do have Survivor Series this month as wrestling is wrapping up for 2022, or pay-per-view wrestling at least, is wrapping up for 2022. Survivor Series this year is set to take place at the TD Bank Garden Arena in Boston on November the 26th. So it's NWA this week, Impact Wrestling next week, and then the following week, Thanksgiving weekend, Survivor Series returns to the time of year that it was most known for, Thanksgiving weekend, and it is War Games. So it's an action-packed month of wrestling in the month of November, But it all starts this weekend, NWA Hard Times 3, Trevor Murdoch, Matt Cardona, and Tyrus, and Camilla, Chelsea Green, and Kylie Lynn King. Both world championships are on the line this weekend for the NWA tomorrow night in Louisiana. But those have been my thoughts on wrestling. Let me know your thoughts down below, and I will see you soon for an AEW Rampage preview for Rampage tonight. Before you go, do not forget to ding that notification bell to always know when a new video is on the channel, because you don't know when I'm going to be posting next. Till next time, I will see you again soon.